Hello lovely people, my name is Emma and today I'm going to be bringing you my July TBR. Now before we jump into the books, this is just your quick public service announcement to remind everybody that we are still in a global pandemic, so if you insist on leaving your house and being around people, can you please wear a mask? Thank you! So today I'm talking about the books I'm going to be reading hopefully in the month of July, and I have two readathons that we'll be taking part in sort of casually. The first one is going to involve now swearing quite a lot, so if you're somebody who does not like to hear the F word, I apologise, but you may need to leave this video, and that is the Fuckathon that is being hosted by Noria Reads. This readathon is taking place throughout the entirety of July, and it's basically giving a huge middle finger to a series of things in the world that we really could do without. So there's a whole bunch of prompts, I'll link it down below, but the idea is to say fuck you to things like capitalism, ageism, ableism, etc, etc. There's a whole bunch of prompts. I won't be fulfilling all of them, but I do have some books that fit into these, so I'm going to be talking about those first. The first one is Fuck Ableism, and this is read a book with a main character with a visible or invisible disability, and for this I'm going to be reading Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. The main character has a chronic illness, and I believe it is discussed within that. This is a contemporary romance. It's been very, very popular on BookTube. I don't know a crazy amount about it, but I know that the sequel is coming out, or has just come out, and again is very well received, and I figured given the amount of contemporary romance that I seem to be reading over the past few months, it makes sense to actually chuck some of these officially on my TBR, because I'm going to get to them anyway. The next one is that I'm going to be doing is Fuck Capitalism, and this is read a book with main characters who try to subvert, swindle, trick or survive or make the best of capitalist systems or societies, and I'm actually going to be reading a book about ones where it is their downfall, and that is going to be the non-fiction Black Diamonds, The Rise and Fall of an English Dynasty by Catherine Bailey. This is about the Fitzwilliam family and their spectacular decline due to infighting, inheritance issues, rumours, scandal and the collapse of the coal mining industry within the UK. I think it's going to be really interesting. I started it on audiobook a while ago, but I really struggle with the narrator, and this is one that I've been meaning to try and jump back into. The Fitzwilliam family, I'm going to assume, has quite a huge connection with Cambridge because a lot of stuff in Cambridge is named after them, probably most notably the Fitzwilliam Museum, but there are quite a few more, so I am quite intrigued about this from more of like a local perspective, as well as sort of an example of British and English dynasties gone wrong. The next prompt is Fuck White Supremacy, and for that one I'm going to be reading the aptly named Me and White Supremacy by Layla F. Sad. This is about how to recognise your privilege, combat racism and change the world, and it is based off of a hashtag that Layla started, which was hashtag Me and White Supremacy, and isn't it very telling about the echo chamber I created for myself online that I'd never heard of this hashtag until picking up this book, so I'm very, very interested in reading this and learning some more and really getting a chance to assess some of my own behaviours. The next one is Fuck Theological Fundamentalism or Religious Intolerance, and read a book with a main character who practices a religion separate to yours. It is very hard to speak today apparently. So for that one I'm going to be reading again another contemporary romance, and this is going to be Ayesha at Last by Uzma, Jalaluddin. This is a modern Pride and Prejudice retelling, but with a Muslim protagonist, and I believe that her religion plays like a key part in the story. Like I said, I'm going to be reading contemporary romance, so I'm going to like chuck a few more onto my TBR. I'm not picking any particular reason out of any of the contemporary romances beyond I know that they fit these prompts quite nicely. I'm just reading anything and everything that comes my way in contemporary romance that appeals at the moment, because I'm really kind of finding my feet with this new genre and I'm really enjoying kind of coming across loads of new books. The next one is Fuck Book Elitism, and for that is to read the trashiest, cheesiest, most tropey book on your shelf. I don't really know what counts fully in that one, but for me, when I think tropey, I think YA. I'm sorry, I know it's a stereotype, but there's some book elitism for you there. So I'm going to be reading Pulp by Talley. This is about a young woman who is a lesbian who is exploring lesbianism within pulp fiction for her dissertation, and she finds a particular author who she really resonates with, and she tries to track down the author's identity. So you've got kind of a dual timeline thing going on. I know Talley is very popular within YA. She's not somebody who I've read anything of before, but I'm quite intrigued by this, and I'm assuming that we're going to get some nice both YA tropes and also looking at some of the pulp fiction tropes and really having an exploration of those different ideas. So I think this is going to be really entertaining. Also, the cover's just so bright and summery and lovely, so it seemed fitting for right now. And then the final one for this particular readathon is Fuck Slut Shaming, read a book with a character who loves sex and is entirely unapologetic about it. And for that one I have a non-fiction, which is Sex with Kings by, I believe that says Eleanor Herman. It's up here, sorry, the graphic is quite bad on my Kindle. And this is a non-fiction looking at the power that various mistresses had over kings throughout history. So not only are these women, who I'm assuming they're all women, who have embraced sex unapologetically, but they are using it to their own ends to gain something and gain power in the long run. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting. So that was the first readathon that I'm going to be taking part in. If there are other books, there are a couple of other prompts, but I don't have any books for them. I'm obviously going to link the announcement video down below, so feel free to go check it out. If I find other books that do fit with the prompts as I go along throughout the month, I will add them in. That's completely fine and relaxed. And Noria is putting out some amazing recommendations videos for all the different prompts for ones which are potentially tricky to find books for. So feel free to go check those out as well if you are a little bit stumped for inspiration from your bookshelves. The other readathon I'm going to be taking part in is a 48-hour readathon. This is Becca's Bookopoly-a-thon. I think I've got the name wrong there. Basically, Becca does Becca's Bookopoly, which is her TBR game that she does every month to pick the books off her shelf. She's doing a 48-hour readathon version of it, where we're going to get the prompts every 12 hours throughout this readathon. So she's released the first 2 prompts, but you can't plan your reading as you go along. So I think it's going to be a really fun, entertaining, slightly mad readathon. So the first 2 prompts, the first one is a paranormal romance, or sorry, paranormal or magic, I think, is the first prompt. So for that one I've picked whatever is the next book for the Lara Adrian Midnight Breed series. I'll chuck it here. I don't know what it's called. I think it's book 14 now, maybe even book 15. So I'm going to be reading that one. But the other prompt, you don't have to do both, by the way. You can pick, but they're quite short, the books I've picked, so I might try and do both. The other one was a chance card, which is where you basically pick a book almost at random. So I did a Twitter poll, which the Twitter for Becca's Bookopoly, which I'll link down below, is helping to promote this. I gave 4 options, and the general public decided that I would also be reading The Hound of Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is one of the absolute iconic classics for Sherlock Holmes, and I'm really pleased that actually this one got picked, because I've not read a Sherlock Holmes in probably coming up to about 6 months or so, and I really like them. And again, lovely and short, perfect for a readathon. I think it's gonna be fantastic. So naturally there will be other books being added in because of that readathon. Wherever I can, I will try and make them fit with stuff that I have on my existing TBR, but I also might branch out. And now we're just going to talk about a bunch of other books that I'm keen to read, because I'm still on furlough as far as I'm aware through most of July, and I'm reading a lot, so I might as well just give you a bunch that I'm keen on. So let's run through the list. One that I want to get to soon is Freshwater by Akwaeke Emezi. This is a really funky, exciting, magic-y kind of thing from a really cool black author, and it's a young woman who has gods in her head, and they cause issues with kind of her identity, and then something happens where these alter egos kind of splinter and start to take control. I know it's supposed to be trippy and crazy and really zany and weird. I'm really excited about it. A lot of people have been reading this at the moment and say it's awesome. One that I've been meaning to get to, and I finally had an opportunity to do a bit of a book trade with my dad. So I've got Cod by Mark Kurlansky. This is a non-fiction looking at the history of kind of how humans have interacted with cod and how it has shaped markets and various sort of fortunes in the economy across the years, and also how it shaped kind of society and how we interact with the world as such. I really enjoy micro histories that sort of focus on a very specific thing and look at how it's impacted humans in different ways, and I've been meaning to pick up a Mark Kurlansky for a while. He's on my authors TBR list for this year, so this is going to be good. I've got another zany, funky, quirky, weird sci-fi thing coming at you. This is The Future of Another Timeline by Annalee Newitz. This is a time travel thing going on. So this is lesbian time travelers, something to do with a group that's trying to destroy women's rights, and then a different group of women are trying to go back and stop them. This was actually on my radar anyway, and then one of my favourite paleontologists tweeted about it being like, it contains references to the Ordovician period, I can't remember, but basically like a period of like prehistoric history, and that just immediately made me want to read it even more, so I'm really excited about this. Now we've got a few non-fictions, because I haven't been reading much non-fiction in June, and I want to kind of address that a little bit going forward into July. So I've got Do No Harm, Stories of Life, Death and Brain Surgery by Henry Marsh. This I thought would tie in quite nicely with some of the stuff going on in Fuckathon about ableism and looking at brain surgery and the various ways that we can operate with the brain. I love medical books, you guys know that on this channel. It's been a little while since I read one that I really actually enjoyed, so I am keen for this. My order for Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings finally arrived, so I will be trying to get to this soon. I believe my mum has a copy and wants to read it with me as well, so I'm basically just waiting for her to finish whatever book she's reading at the moment, and then I will jump straight into this one. So I'm excited about this. This is the first autobiography from Maya Angelou. I know she has a like an autobiographical series, which I think would be really interesting because I've never read from something like that before. I tend to kind of avoid memoirs in general, so I think this is going to be pushing the envelope for me in a couple of different ways. Maya Angelou is a very famous, very well-known black activist and black writer, so I think this is going to be really, really interesting. Got a graphic novel, a non-fiction graphic novel, very rare for me on this channel, and that is Sensible Footwear, A Girl's Guide by Kate Charlesworth. Sorry about that. This is a history of queer rights and the LGBT movement, plus also a bit of a biography about Kate and her interactions with them. I think it looks really cool and interesting. It's been highly recommended by many people, both in my life and online. I think I first saw this mentioned on Jean's channel from Jean Bookish Thoughts, so I'm excited for this, and it's been ages since I read a non-fiction graphic novel. I may have only ever read one, which was Persepolis, so I'm keen to try a different format for my non-fiction. And then the last physical book I have is Trouble with Lichen by John Wyndham. This was one that I'm borrowing from my dad, so I'm really keen to get to it soon. I don't know a crazy amount about it, something about a rare lichen that stops aging process and then implications from that, but dad said it was amazing. I'm a big fan of John Wyndham on this channel. I discovered him this year. He's very exciting and very cool, so I'm keen to get to another one, and this might be a good one for Becca's Bookopoly if it can fit, because it's quite short and they're quite easy to read. I have a few more. I know, a crazy number of books. You're thinking like, Emmy, you're not going to get to all of these, but that's fine because I'm reading tons and I like to have options. So the other ones that I'm keen for 2 more contemporary romances. That is The Worst Best Man by Mia Sosa, which is a enemies to lovers idea, I believe, and then You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle, which is about a couple who are basically on the verge of breaking up, but they've already like started a process for planning a wedding, and whoever breaks it is the one who has to pay the fee. So it's about them trying to get each other to break up with each other, and then in doing so then kind of growing back together. And because of reading the Bromance Book Club, I'm kind of enjoying romances that focus on couples who are rediscovering their love for each other rather than brand new romances, so I'm intrigued by what this could do. And then I also really want to get to Art on Fire, a novel by Hilary Sloin. This is like a fake non-fiction. It's a fake biography about a lesbian artist, and it includes both her biography and then critical analysis of her work, but the entire thing is she's a completely fictional character, but it's written completely deadpan as if she's a real artist, and it was so good and so convincing it actually got nominated for a bunch of non-fiction awards because people genuinely thought that this artist existed. So I am excited about this on many different levels. So yeah, so I think that's... Oh, and the only audiobooks, I've got The Great Expectation... I've got Great Expectations by Charles Dickens on the go, and I'm assuming that I will not get it finished by the end of the month, so that will be drifting over. And then other than that, I'm not too sure. I might pick up another classic on audiobook. I've got a few others banding around, so I'm going to leave that one completely open, but expect a few more audiobooks in there. Maybe some of these I'll grab on audiobook. Oh, I just scratched the wall. I'm not too sure. The world is my oyster. Many opportunities, many possibilities. So crazy long TBR for you there. Where do you think I should start? Are you joining with any of these readathons? Let me know everything in the comments down below. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. If you insist on leaving your house, please wear a mask. Seriously, wear a mask. We're in a global pandemic. Wear a damn mask. Excellent. I'll chat to you soon. Bye.